You think you're ready, you've got the bag, the plan, the route out, maybe you've got a stash, maybe you've practiced a few drills. But here's the parts most people don't understand until it's too late. In a real collapse, it's not about the lack of gear that gets you hurt, it's the wrong gear in the wrong place at the wrong time. Because some items don't just help you survive, they advertise you. And once the system breaks, there's no one left to protect you, no police response time, no CCTV, no I'll just call someone. It's pressure, hunger, fear, and people watching. Welcome back to Charlie Survival. If you're new here, hit subscribe because this channel is all about calm, practical UK survival and preparedness that actually keeps you alive. Today, I'm breaking down 9 common survival items that can make you a target after a collapse, not because they're bad, but because they send the wrong signals. And I'm going to show you how to keep the benefits without turning yourself into bait. And comment while you're watching, what's one item you've got in your kit that you'd never want people to see in a real collapse and why? Keep it smart and don't overshare your full setup. Stay till the end because the last point is the one no one talks about. It's not the danger you see that gets you, it's the comfort you show. Let's talk mindsets first. Gear isn't armor, gear is a message. Before we get into the list, I want you to understand something that changes everything. Most people treat survival gear like armor. Like if you buy enough kit, you become safe. But in a breakdown, gear is not armor, gear is a message. It tells the world things like I've got food, I've got heat, I've got meds, I've got power, I've got a plan. And when people are cold, hungry, scared and desperate, they don't see you as a prepared guy, they see you as a walk-in solution. Not everyone is evil, not everyone is out to hurt people, but pressure does strange things. People become irrational, and the moment you look like you have resources, you become a target. So your goal is simple, get the advantage without broadcasting it. Alright, let's get into the 9. 1. Butane canister stoves. Butane stoves are everywhere. They're lightweight, compact and cheap. You can grab one from a camping shop and be boiling water in 30 seconds. So what's the problem? The problem is not the stove itself, the problem is what it creates. Signals. The click of ignition in a silent neighbourhood, the glow of a flame bouncing off walls, steam in the cold air, and the big one, the smell of hot food. In a blackout, quiet returns, streets go silent, and in that stillness, smells travel. The scent of warm noodles or a bit of fried meat can travel like a flare, and hungry people track smell the same way a dog tracks food. They won't think, oh nice, someone's having dinner. They'll think they've got fuel, they've got food, they've got more. The stove doesn't just cook, it marks you. The fix. Keep cooking short and low odour. Think bland, quick meals. Avoid frying and anything pungent if you're near other people. Don't cook at the same time every day. Don't build a routine. Don't cook right next to open windows or doorways that let smell pour out. And very important, never use fuel stoves in unventilated enclosed spaces. Carbon monoxide is real and it kills quietly. Follow the manufacturer instructions. Use proper ventilation. In collapse, the goal isn't cook like normal, it's cook like a ghost. 2. Mini solar lantern. These feel like the perfect bit of survival kit. Rechargeable, free light, no batteries. But after collapse, light becomes a language. A tiny flicker says someone's there. A steady glow says someone's settled. Picture a week 2 of a blackout. No power for days, people are exhausted, cold, fed up. Then someone spots a warm glow through a window or under a tarp or in the trees. They don't know who you are. They just know you have something they don't. That's enough. The fix. Use red light when possible, shield it, point it down, block it with fabric. Treat windows like wartime blackout rules, no light leaks, never leave lanterns on when you're not actively using them. If you're outside, build a light box around it so it doesn't project in all directions. Light helps you function, but if you let it slip out into the world, you've just shared your location. 3. Collapsible water jugs. Water is life, and in a serious breakdown, water becomes currency. If someone sees you walking confidently with a big clean container, it tells them you know where water is, you have capacity, you're organised, you're probably coming back. And in a desperate world, that makes you a map. The container itself is a tell. It's like you're saying, I'm not just surviving day to day, I have a system that attracts attention. If you want to become more resilient in the UK, head over to the Charlie Survival Amazon kit list. You can find everything you need from home survival to bug out gear. Click the link in the description after this video. The fix. Don't fill water where it's easy to be watched. Keep larger containers for times you're confident you're not being observed. In public, use smaller containers and keep them discreet. Vary your route, vary the time, avoid patterns. Don't fill the water where it's easy to be watched. Keep larger containers for times you're confident you're not being observed. And never treat a water source like a public tap. If you found something reliable, protect it by not advertising you found it. Water saves your life, but by showing people you have it, it can shorten it. 4. Pre-packed first aid kits with bright branding. This is a big one. In normal life, a first aid kit is just sensible. After collapse, a bright red pouch with a white cross can scream, "I've got meds." And after collapse, people just don't want bandages. They want antiseptic, antibiotics, pain relief, anything that stops infection. Because a small cut can turn into something deadly when systems are down. So if you've got a visible medical bag, you can become a target, especially if someone has an injured kid, an infected wound, or a chronic condition. They might not ask politely. Strip branding, no red, no cross, no obvious medical pouch. Repack into plain, boring pouches. Split your kit into smaller modules, one for bleeding, one for meds, one for blisters, etc. Store it deeper in your pack, not hanging on the outside like a trophy. And a big one, don't do obvious medical treatment in front of strangers unless you're prepared for attention, because once people know you're carrying medical supplies, you're not just surviving, you're suddenly useful, and in a collapse being useful can be dangerous. 5. High lumen tactical torches. I love torches, you know that, but the brighter the torch, the further it can be seen. In a darkened city or village, even a small light carries. A 1000 plus lumen tactical beam, that's basically a moving lighthouse. From 100 to 300 meters away, someone can see that beam flash against walls, trees, hedges, windows. You've just broadcast your position, your movement direction, your capability, batteries, gear, preparedness. Even if you're not carrying much, they'll assume you are, because light equals resources. Use torches with proper low modes. Prefer red light where you can. Shield the beam with your hand and point it down. Shorts burst only, and never scan like you're searching for a lost dog. Avoid using bright light in open areas. Light helps you see, but it also helps other people find you. 6. Propane tanks. Fuel is power. Propane means heat, cooking, boiling, warmth, maybe even running some devices depending on your setup. So if people see you moving a propane tank, it can scream, "I've got energy." In a world where energy is scarce, that's a big deal, and here's the psychological part. People don't just want the tank, they want what it represents. Hot meals, warm rooms, clean water, control. If they believe you have control, they might think you have more. The fix. Move fuel discreetly, cover it, don't parade it around, store it safely and out of sight. Don't talk about it in public, don't mention it casually, and remember, fuel safety still matters. A collapse doesn't stop fire. 7. Dutch ovens and big cooking pots. In normal life, a Dutch oven is just brilliant. In collapse, it can become a broadcast, because a big pot suggests you're cooking in bulk, you have enough food to make stew, you have enough fuel to simmer for ages. You're settled, you have a base, not just passing through, and the longer something cooks, the stronger the scent becomes. Stews, meat, onions, spices, that smell can travel across a street, across a block, and it sits in the air. People don't need to see the pot, they'll smell it. Cook small and quick when you're near other people, and avoid using long simmer sessions unless you're confident you're not visible. Don't leave cookware visible outside like a campsite display, and don't hang big pots off your pack where they can clank and show I'm set up for comfort. In collapse, it's not the food you have that's dangerous, it's the idea you give people that you have more. 8. Thermos flasks. This one surprises people. A thermos feels harmless, but after collapse, a thermos can quietly scream, "I'm doing better than you." Imagine it, week 2, cold, miserable, people haven't had a hot drink in days, and you pour steaming tea or coffee like it's nothing. That's one moment tells a story. You've got fuel or heat, you've got clean water, you've got time, you've got comfort, and in a pressure world, comfort triggers resentment fast. Also, a shiny flask still looks valuable, durable, sealable. Even if it's empty, people may assume it contains something rare. Fix. Don't drink hot stuff in open around strangers. Step away, keep it private, scuff the flask up, wrap it, dull the shine, make it look ordinary. Don't leave it out at camp like a centerpiece. You don't need to suffer, you just don't need to advertise you're not. 9. Mosquito coils and strong insect repellents. This one matters more than people think. In a real breakdown, bug bites are not just annoying, they can lead to infections, lack of sleep, breakdown of morale. So repellent is useful, but it has one problem: it smells. Citronella, DEET, coils, sprays, lotions, even subtle scents stand out in a world where everyone is dirty, sweaty and stressed. If you're the only one not scratching, the only one sleeping properly, and someone catches that smell, you've just signaled, I have supplies, I have comfort, I have margin, and margin becomes suspicious. Apply repellent away from camp, apply under clothing where appropriate to reduce scent drift. Don't burn coils in open areas where smoke travels. Dispose of packaging and use coils away from where you sleep. In collapse, comfort isn't free, comfort can cost you attention. The rule that ties it all together. Here's the rule: you're not targeted because you're bad, you're targeted because you look valuable, and value comes from signals. Light, lanterns, torches, phone screens. Smell, cooking, fuel, repellent. Sound, clanking cookware, loud stoves, generators. Branding, medical pouches, tactical gear, anything that screams prepared. Predictability, doing the same thing at the same times. So the goal isn't to ditch these items, the goal is to de-signal them, keep the advantage but stop broadcasting it. If this helps, hit like so more people see it. And if you're new here, this is Charlie Survival, calm, practical UK survival and preparedness. No doom, no fantasy, just real world mindset and skills. Hit subscribe because the people who survive aren't always the strongest, they're the ones nobody notices. And head over to the Charlie Survival Amazon kit list to become more resilient. You can find kits I've tried and tested in real UK scenarios. And comment below the items you wouldn't want people to see, and remember, don't share your whole setup. Now it's time to learn all about blackout heating. Click this video on screen now to see 11 heat sources that don't need electricity. Click it and I'll catch you on the other side.